guys, it's John from Xpressions. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video where I finally talk about an idea that I've had for a couple of years now, which is how to buy Pandora on eBay. And of course, we can apply this to other selling platforms like Mercari, Etsy, Poshmark, etc. And it's not just limited to Pandora, it could be Troll Beads. I've had this idea now for a couple of years and I just kept thinking about it, and I tried working on it a couple of years ago, but I didn't like the way it came out, so I scratched it, and I decided to do it this way in this format. I was going to try to record my screen, but it was much harder to do that, so we're just going to do a screenshot. So I hope you guys can bear with me. Okay, so before we get started, I just have to offer a couple of disclaimers. One is I decided to use a screenshot method in order to be able to blur out personal information, my private information, and other people's information as a precaution since I've received many cease and desist notices in the past. So in order to avoid that, I am just going to blur everything out. Okay. So here we see my eBay homepage, and let's just pretend that we're going to enter in the search bar for Pandora Murano beads. Okay, so after putting in Pandora Murano charm or Murano bead, I forget what I used, I scrolled down to maybe the third or fourth, listing, and I came across these green swirly beads. Now, on top of that, you see the new winter collection Murano. And below that, you see the blue swirls and the turtle. We're going to focus for now on the green swirls. Okay, so we clicked on the green swirl Murano listing. So my first tip is, if you're going to buy on eBay, familiarize yourself with Pandora product. Familiarize yourself with Pandora charms, beads, the items that they sell. I've been collecting since 2007, I think. So 2007, 6, 7, or 8. I always forget. It's been a long time, but I've been collecting for a while. And I have never seen Pandora come out with this bead. I don't know what this bead is. It's cute. It's pretty. It's a good price point. But this is not Pandora. Why? Because I've never seen this. And I can't be so arrogant to go that I know everything. I've never seen these beads before. I don't think they're Asian exclusives or European exclusives because, one way or another, we find out online what the exclusives are. This is not a Pandora bead. I've never seen it in my entire life. If I'm wrong, let me know, but this is not a Pandora bead. So let's scroll down on that same listing and read what it says. New authentic Pandora jewelry. We will serve you with the highest standards. Satisfied, please give us a valuable 5-star praise. If you have any questions about this product, please contact us first and we will deal with your problems as soon as possible. Have a nice day. So, first of all, this gives me the impression that the person is not a native English speaker, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But, we get the feeling that maybe this was made in China. It's obviously not real Pandora, so they might think it's a knockoff. I don't know what they're thinking, but that's another red flag. And if you look at the item specifics, it says charm type, bead, metal, sterling silver, material glass, brand, Pandora. Again, the listing says new authentic Pandora jewelry. Doesn't say Pandora style, Pandora like, will fit Pandora bracelets, European style bracelets. It doesn't say anything. It's literally saying that this is a Pandora bead. So once again, tip number 1, familiarize yourself with Pandora jewelry before you buy. I'm going to turn into a shameless self-promoter for once because I don't do that, but I will this time. On my Pinterest page, account, I have my Xpressions, by the way. It's my Xpressions on Pinterest. If you guys didn't know I was on Pinterest, I am. I have a board dedicated to old Pandora catalogs. I wish I had collected them since I started collecting Pandora, but I did not, unfortunately. I threw them away or I lost them or whatever. I didn't realize that it could be such a good resource to have. So now I am trying to amass a collection of old Pandora catalogs online at least. to refer back to, because, you know, I have my, my Xpressions online catalog for like Pandora, like collectors, if they want to, again, see if you got the real thing. You can use my references in order to make sure that you got the real deal. But again, to go to my Xpressions, I have a board, all Pandora catalogs. You can go ahead and follow that board, browse it, peruse it, pin it, and see and compare and familiarize yourself with older Pandora products or older Pandora charms, okay? Okay, so this next slide is just another example of what they're claiming to be Pandora, and it is definitely not a Pandora charm. What they're doing here is actually probably a ripoff of troll beads. Not a great one. I mean, it's not a bad bead. I like it. The white rose with the black background. It's a really cute bead, but Pandora has never made a bead like this. So once again, same seller, different example of how this is not a Pandora charm. Okay, so before we get into the feedback, I would say tip 2 would be to check to see if the seller has a return policy. I don't know how many times I've accidentally forgotten to check. I ordered a fake bead, and then I go back and go, oh my gosh, do they even have a return policy? And I've gotten lucky enough where they had a return policy, and sometimes they don't have a return policy. So obviously check. That should be tip 1. I'm not doing these in any particular order, by the way, in priority or anything like that. These are just tips in general as they come to my mind. So tip 2 would be to check to see if if the seller has a return policy, and if they do, proceed with caution still. At least you have that safety guard, that, you know, that safety net. If you order something and it happens to be a fake bead, well, return it and you're good. You get your money back, right? Okay. Now let's move into tip 3, which is the feedback. It gets a little bit tricky here. So here we have the same seller that has, I've just shown the green swirly Murano and the rose one with the white rose, the black background. Same seller has 100% positive feedback, right? Does that shock some of you? This person or business is selling fake Pandora beads. They are touting them as authentic, and yet they have 100% positive feedback. So don't let that fool you. Don't let that go, oh, they have 100% positive feedback. They must be trustworthy. They must be, you know, legit. Nope. Sorry to say, guys, it's not true. It is not. That you need to do a little more research than just do the, you know, 100% positive feedback and go, okay, this is a legit seller. So what can we do? Well, there's no guarantee, unfortunately. The 100% positive feedback is not a guarantee that, you know, you're buying from a reputable seller. So the only thing you can do is to look at their feedback and look at their, obviously, negative. If they have any negative feedback, check it. I don't buy anything lower than 99%. Honestly, even 99.3 is really my limit for buying from a seller. Because sometimes stuff happens, people are kind of harsh and they leave negative feedback for whatever reason. So I give them the benefit of the doubt. So anything less than 99.3, I pass. I don't even bother with the seller. But sometimes they'll have neutral feedback. That can be a whole other story. So a seller can get away with selling fake Pandora or Troll beads or whatever, and still get 100%, because if they offer a return policy, well, the customer can then return the fake bead, get the money back, and they still get 100% positive. Okay. A neutral feedback sometimes can tell you what kind of seller this is. Sometimes a neutral feedback will say, oh, you know, fake, do not buy, etc., etc. Somehow they got away with not getting a bad or negative review. They'll leave a neutral one instead. If the seller has 100% positive feedback and it has a couple of neutrals here and there, and the neutrals say, beware, you know, buyer beware, sells fake bead, I got a fake bead, I would also stay away. Now with this seller, I don't know how they got away with selling fake Pandora beads and only have one neutral feedback. Okay, so let me very quickly read what this neutral feedback says. And it says, not green and white as said or pictured. So it doesn't even mention whatever charm this person bought from the seller, doesn't even mention the fact that it's fake, not authentic. So again, goes to show that you have to familiarize yourself with the Pandora bead or charm that you're looking for to make sure that you don't get fooled. Okay, the next tip, and I think this one's more well known. The next tip is to avoid sellers that use stock images only. There are no other images of the item that they're selling. The only image available is stock. You have no idea what you're going to receive in the mail if you order from a seller that uses stock images. This seller particularly makes me laugh because of the description of the listing, which we will go through right now. Okay, so we scroll down to the Dove of Peace, the same listing I just showed you, and let me read to you the description of the listing. Authentic sterling silver Pandora bead, stamped 925 ALE, new without tag. I don't know what the PSX11 means. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Includes includes pink gift box or Pandora polish cloth. Special. Please visit our eBay store for a huge selection of original Pandora jewelry. Original, okay. By the way, this seller I think has a 98 point something positive feedback. So yeah. The part that gets me, that I find hilarious, it says that image disclaimer. All images are property of the photographer. Okay. And are used by permission. Unauthorized usage is prohibited. I'm not sure what that's about. I'm guessing it's they're claiming they have permission from Pandora to use the stock photo. I sincerely doubt that's the case. I know, because I used to do the same thing. I would put whenever I did the retired list, and I would use, the Pandora stock images to tell you guys what was going to retire. I would literally put a disclaimer at the very bottom of my blog saying that the images are from Pandora and that I'm just got them from Google, etc., to not have copyright infringement, because it gets really picky and weird, guys. But anyways, yeah, I don't know what that means. But anyways, yeah, so stock photo. I would just steer clear from anyone who uses a stock photo. There are some sellers that will tell you get the item that you're looking at in the pictures is the item you get. I trust that much more, because then, you're going to have to trust it. That makes you feel better about purchasing, especially when they cross off all the other check boxes, like, the return policy, no use of stock photos, good feedback, etc. Okay, the next tip, when I think this is tip number 5, I've kind of lost count. The next tip is to scrutinize everything that you're looking at. So let's stay with the Dove of Peace, because apparently the Dove of Peace is one of the most hard to find, highly sought after, and highly faked Pandora charm that there is. There's a couple other ones too. Oh my gosh, there's so many. But let's stick with the Dove of Peace, because I feel like this one's kind of really hard to tell whether it's, authentic or not. So at first glance, we see the Dove of Peace. It says new authentic Pandora charm, Dove of Peace, etc. First glance, the charm looks good, but it's not. It really isn't. This is also a fake, I dare say. And let me show you why. Okay, so let's backtrack a little and let's study an up-close picture of the stock photo for the Dove of Peace. We see the feet, little feet coming out. The wings, the feathers on the wings are a little bit defined. There's a little bit of oxidation there to bring out those details. I'll give you guys a quick hint. If you're looking for the Dove of Peace on eBay, the feet are the first telltale indicator that it's a fake. So again, we're studying the feet and the wings of the Dove of Peace for the stock photo. Let us move on now to up close picture of the listing. Okay, so here is the up close, the enlarged picture of the listing that we just checked out. Right off the bat, you might think, well, it looks good, right? There's a champagne colored cubic zirconias on the bail, the wings, etc. Everything looks good. Well, let's now do a side-by-side comparison between the image of the listing and the stock photo. All right, right off the bat, what do we see? The zirconias on the left-hand side with the auction listing picture, they look a little too brown. They're more champagne colored, so that could be like a one-off. Okay, what if it's just the picture, lighting, you know, whatever. But look at the feet. Look at the feet of the stock photo and compare that to the auction. The little toes are completely delineated. They are completely just, they poke out a little more. They're more prominent. Whereas the feet on the left-hand side, where we have the auction listing, they kind of blend in. They don't really show up a lot. They're kind of squished. So that's how I can tell that this is a fake. If you look at the wings as well, they're not quite there either. The wings on the left-hand bird, the auction bird, they just don't look like the feathers are carved out, per se. They look kind of uniform. And the stock photo, as you can see, the feathers are a little more pronounced individually. You can count how many feathers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the fake one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They might have 7, but they're not carved out. They're just not prominent. They're just kind of blended all together. So this one, unfortunately, is a big dupe. They really dupe people and customers into thinking it's the authentic. It's really not, obviously, as you guys can see for yourself here. What gets me upset is that this seller also has 100% positive feedback. 100%. Judge for yourselves if this is really an authentic Pandora dove of peace or not. Okay? And to piggyback on this tip, there is one more that you can kind of look out for. Sometimes you'll have sellers with the fake picture. They'll have the pictures and say this is the one you're getting. Sometimes at the bottom of the listing or in the middle of the listing, it'll say buy 2, save so much money. Buy 3, save more money. Buy 4. If it's such a hard to find charm, why would you have 5 or 10 of these charms just laying around waiting to be sold in bulk? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I've seen them, especially because I use my eBay mobile app on my phone. Sometimes I'll see that. It'll say buy 1, $19.99. Buy 2, pay $18.99 for both. Buy 3, save more money. Buy 3 for $15 each. So the more you buy, the more you save. But again, if they're hard to find and rare, number one, why are they so affordable? And number two, why are we selling them in bulk? Why do you have 3 or 4 or 5 to sell at once? It's really fishy. And so with this, I conclude my how to buy Pandora on eBay. Now, again, like I said at the beginning of this video, it's not just for eBay. This can be for Mercari, Poshmark, Tradesy, Etsy, wherever there's a second or third party seller who's not an authorized reseller from Pandora. I think these are good tips to kind of remember in order to not get fooled into buying something that's not authentic. So to summarize, familiarize yourself with the product. Make sure you're familiar with the company's product. That's so that you don't accidentally buy something that is not authentic. Tip number 2, make sure the seller offers a return policy. If they don't, then just walk away. It's totally not worth it. Tip number 3, check the seller's feedback. Just because they have 100% positive feedback does not mean the seller is trustworthy. Sellers can skirt around receiving a negative review by offering the buyer a full refund and receiving neutral review or even a positive one. Read all negative or neutral feedback to get a feel for the seller. Tip number 4, avoid sellers that use stock images only. You have no idea what you will receive. Tip number 5, scrutinize hard the item you want to buy. This may prove harder than you think if the only example you have is stock photo. Try your best to make sure the item you see matches a stock photo. And tip number 6, if possible, check for hallmarks or placement of hallmarks. Unfortunately, shady sellers can copy the hallmarks, so a charm just having a hallmark is not enough to guarantee authenticity. Enlist the help of other collectors to help you find where the hallmark looks like and where it should be on the bead. You could also ask the seller to perhaps take more photos. Some sellers are not like storefronts, eBay storefronts. Some sellers are just collectors like me who don't want their stuff anymore. They've outgrown Pandora, or they're pawn shops. They don't know about Pandora, so they may be okay taking more photos of the item you're looking for in order to make you feel better about the purchase you're about to make. And that's it, guys. I will tell you my favorite place to buy is eBay. I know that a lot of people have had a lot of luck on Poshmark. I don't know Poshmark. I've only purchased one thing ever on Poshmark. I don't remember what it was. But I would still recommend eBay over anything else because eBay has a really good return policy. Or, you know, not eBay on itself. I'm sorry. I meant to say the sellers have return policies. You can see who has return policies and who doesn't. When it comes to Mercari and Poshmark, I don't know exactly how the return policy works. I don't think they have a return policy. It's kind of clear, like once you make the purchase, you're in it to win it. If you do have an issue, it's a little bit more cumbersome to get that issue resolved because they don't really offer a return policy unless it's blatantly obvious that it's not authentic. And even then you have to save that original packaging and take photos, and it's very convoluted and tedious for me. So, like I said, I've heard of other people having really good luck on Poshmark specifically. I kind of don't like Poshmark. Like I said, I've only done Poshmark once, and it went very smoothly. With Mercari, I wouldn't recommend Mercari at all. I've had various bad experiences with Mercari, but that's just, again, my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's gonna happen to you. So that's it, guys. I hope this video really helped you out. Again, this video can be applied for other brands such as troll beads. That's pretty much it. I don't think anyone else is buying luxury brands. I try to do Tiffany, but I'm not an expert on Tiffany, so I'm not going to do Tiffany because Tiffany is so easily replicated as well. But yeah, as for troll beads and Pandora, I think these are pretty good tips on how to avoid getting screwed over. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.